it is kind of the key to life as we know it. Growing food and just our survival is based on light. I was at the World's Fair in New York City, and that's where I was from. And they were exhibiting at the Bell Laboratories, the AT&T Bell Laboratories exhibit, the first laser. Throughout my career, I've always kind of had to build the laser I used for my research. So the game in physics is always having a tool that's better than anyone else has. You know, a better telescope to see further, a better microscope to see smaller. And the laser would, in our case, be more powerful and more intense. Well, its brightness is 1 billion times more than the brightness of light at the surface of the sun. It's named after the inventor of the mirror that we use in our research. And this was a Greek mathematician from ancient Greece who was interested in concentrating light, but he only had sunlight. He invented this parabolic reflector, which we use today, and which is the ideal shape to focus light. Archimedes, he actually used light to set afire ships that were invading Greece. Our laser is not really powerful enough to burn anything like a ship. It's a fact that there are some uses of our technology for security and defense. Light has always been, like radar was used in World War II, which is just another form of light, which it all starts with the laser that leads to physics and the new understanding of nature, and that leads to new technologies. And in our case, those technologies are new ways of making X-rays. When you go to the dentist, when you go to the doctor, we can do that with our type of X-ray, but much clearer pictures and with much lower dose, so it's much safer. The semiconductor industry, who are interested now in making like your smartphone smaller and smaller, but they've reached the point where the transistors and all the circuitry is so small they can't see what they're making any longer. It's almost the size of atoms. And so you need a source like ours to actually measure how well you're manufacturing these components. When you work with lasers, there is something I guess you would call satisfying and kind of magical about it, because you control the beam. Most often light is just flooding everywhere. So everyone knows you need light, you need the sun shining down, but they usually don't realize that without scattering, even on the brightest day, it would look completely dark, because that sunlight would never get to their eyes. But it does through scattering. It changes when the intensity is very high. In fact, what comes to your eye is no longer the same photon, it's an X-ray photon. It's pretty difficult to concentrate the light in any particular location, whereas a laser comes in a beam, and you can actually move the beam and make the beam do what you want to do, and you have some connection to the light that normally most people don't get to experience. There's a lot of creativity in science, and it's similar to art in many ways, but different in several very important ways. Any of our ideas have to conform to some kind of reality, and that reality are the laws of nature. But there's still plenty of room for creativity within that, of course, because as we observe new phenomena, we have to understand it, and we need to create theories that comport with the laws of nature. The creativity is often coming up with a better way to observe the universe. There is this kind of connection between art and science that is important for people to understand and really understand the role that science plays in society. It makes life interesting. To understand how nature works has a fundamentally interesting, well, satisfying our curiosity.